This past Clash Royale update that was released in October had a lot riding on it. The March 2021 update added magic items, and the June 2021 update added a lot of other things that were needed for the game. And while both of these updates were extremely solid, they did nothing to actually change how a person plays Clash Royale, which is something the game has needed for a long time. And so to respond to this demand, in the October 2021 update, Clash Royale added champions, which are similar to heroes from Clash of Clans. But before we talk about champions and give my overall grade about this update, let's talk about the other things that Clash Royale added. Also, if you're new here, subscribe. Thank you. As previously stated, the past two Clash Royale updates did a lot to improve the game's overall progression, and this update actually did a little bit of that as well. Between levels 10 to 13, the amount of XP needed to level up your King Tower has been reduced, making it easier to progress in that manner. And then also along with that, the amount of gold needed to upgrade cards from level 11 through level 13 was reduced as well to make it a lot cheaper. Honestly, not too much to say about these things, but more progression equals better, right? And then we got something that was completely unexpected, at least for me, but also something that was really cool, which is the King's Journey. This is almost like a map where players can see their progress through Clash Royale in terms of levels, and also as they get a new level, then they can unlock rewards in the form of a level up chest. And these level up chests are pretty solid as they include a lot of good stuff and also a lot of gems, which most chests in Clash Royale don't contain a lot of. While these progression changes are somewhat minor and don't help the game in a major way, they're still pretty beneficial and every player can benefit from them. Now we got star points. Star points were in much need of some sort of change. They were added to Clash Royale during the December 2018 update, and while they were initially cool, they didn't really do anything with them, and their coolness kind of wore off as the years progressed. But now, you can unlock the use of star points at King level 6, and you can start applying them to your cards once they reach level 7. And also, even if you're not King level 6, you're still accumulating star points in the background, you're just not able to use them. And also, along with being able to utilize star points earlier, the upgrade costs for star points have been reduced as well. As I said, star points were in dire need of a change, and with this change, I think Supercell did a pretty decent job. Although, one complaint that I do have is that Supercell actually didn't really add any more star point skins. The only card that got additional skins was the Mother Witch, and while these skins do look amazing, that's just one more card when there are plenty of other cards in the game that don't have tier 2 or tier 3 star point skins. This is a fairly minor thing that can be added in future updates, but it's something I wish we would have seen more of in this update. Now we have some more additional rewards that were added to this update. I'm not going to spend too long in this section, but let me give a quick rundown anyway. More gold crates have been added to the chest cycle, and you can start getting them at King level 10 compared to the previous mark of King level 11. Legendary cards have a higher drop rate. I don't know exact percentages, but they are going to appear more frequently in your chests. And also, we got a brand new chest, the Royal Wild chest. These will contain wild cards and also a guaranteed champion if you are at King level 14. And this chest will be able to be unlocked through normal battles, as most chests are, but you will also be able to get them at tier 30 in the Pass Royale for free, so you don't have to pay for them. And I think that that part right there is absolutely incredible. So even if you're free to play and you're level 14, you can still get a champion for free if you do your Pass Royale. And also for pay to play players like myself, it's just another champion. I'll take it. All right, so now we dive into the controversy. Let's talk about level 14. From what I've seen, I think the addition of level 14 is probably the biggest controversy in Clash Royale history. I will never forget scrolling through Twitter on that day where they announced level 14 and seeing all of the toxicity towards level 14 and towards Clash Royale. Man, that was a wild day. Although, to be honest, I think some of the uproar was somewhat justified. Not necessarily the toxic manner in which it was displayed, but players were definitely justified to be upset because they were getting cheated out of cards through Clash Royale. And to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of level 14 myself. A couple of weeks before the update dropped, I had finally maxed out my entire account after like 5.5 years of playing this game, and then they just went ahead and added level 14, giving me a whole new level to max out for all of my cards, which is going to take a decent amount of time to do. Yes, Supercell did help all of us out by giving us a lot of our cards back as an apology for the whole Clash Royale controversy, but still, even with that being the case, it's going to take a while for me to max up my account again. And honestly, that isn't so much because of the cards. I'll be able to unlock the cards pretty quick just through playing games and stuff, but it's the gold that's an issue. The gold has always been the issue. Although trying to look at things from an unbiased point of view, I can theorize why Supercell did add level 14 and what they were thinking. So my theory is that Clash Royale added an additional level, so that way they can tweak the lower levels in future updates and add potential expansion for those levels as well. Maybe like at King level 12, they add tower abilities where you can like raise your tower or burst heal your tower or something like that. And then maybe for King level 10, for cards, they add something similar to gadgets like brawlers have in Brawl Stars. And with it being level 14 compared to level 13, it kind of spaces out where you would unlock these new things for your King level, making it kind of more rewarding when you reach a new stage in the game. I don't know. This is just total speculation, just a total random theory that I kind of came up with off the top of my head. But I do think there is some other reason that Clash Royale added level 14 than just for the need to, you know, put champions at level 14. Speaking of champions, let's go ahead and talk about them. Champions were obviously the biggest part of this update, and I have quite a few things to say about them. I have some things that are good to say, I have some things that are bad to say, and some things that are kind of in between and in the middle. Let's go ahead and start talking. I'm going to start out by talking about each champion individually, and then towards the end, I'm going to talk about the champions as a collective and what it means for Clash Royale. And also, just so you know, I'm recording this video before any potential emergency balance changes have been put out for the champions, and I definitely do expect that there will be some, and if that's the case, then yay. But these are my thoughts about the champions without any emergency balance changes, so just keep that in mind. I feel like the Archer Queen has the most utility out of any champion. She does a solid amount of damage and can target both air and ground units. She's basically like a much better musketeer for 1 extra elixir, if you ask me. But really quick, can we talk about her ability? As of the time of me recording this video, the Archer Queen's ability is completely busted. Her ability alone makes her the strongest champion and the strongest card in Clash Royale, and it is 100% deserving of a nerf. Whether they make her ability 2 elixir, nerf the duration of her ability, or nerf her fire rate while her ability is activated, they gotta do something about the Archer Queen, and I hope they've done it by the time this video goes out. If I can get to 6,741 trophies while using a level 12 Archer Queen, which is severely underleveled, then yeah, this card is definitely broken and needs some tweaking. But overall, I do think that she is a really cool champion. Of course, the Archer Queen was in Clash of Clans before. They took her and put her in the Clash Royale, and I really like her ability and her overall, you know, place in the game. I just wish it was more balanced. Next up, we have the Golden Knight, aka the Bandit on steroids. As of right now, I feel like the Golden Knight is the most balanced out of all the champions in Clash Royale. His dashing ability is really unique, but it's also not totally broken, but it also provides a lot of utility and is very versatile, especially in decks that are pretty spammy, is what I've noticed. I think his ability only being 1 elixir is actually fine, because I think his ability is pretty balanced, not nearly as broken as the Archer Queen's, so I'm happy with it being 1 elixir as it is right now. And overall, I don't have much else to say about this guy. He's a pretty cool dude. And last but not least, we have the Skeleton King. If you ask me, the Skeleton King is the weakest of the 3 champions, and that really hurts me to say because he's my favorite champion. When I first saw him in the TV Royale, I thought he was going to be absolutely insane because his ability made it look like that he was a walking graveyard, but actually in the arena in Clash Royale, it's not really like that. I find it really difficult to get any value with his ability because Clash Royale has so many prominent splash damaging cards like the Valkyrie, the Dark Prince, the Baby Dragon, and the Mega Knight, among other things. Oh, and don't even get me started with the Mother Witch. She is insane against the Skeleton King. She just counters all the skeletons. Yeah. And unfortunately, his lack of damage and his pretty slow attack speed don't help him out really at all either. So as of right now, with the recording of this video, he's definitely the worst champion, but I hope he gets a buff because he's really cool in concept. Now that we've talked about all the champions individually, let's start talking about them as a collective and what it means for the state of Clash Royale. Champions, without a doubt, have already added a tremendous amount to the game. Within a meta that has been somewhat stale for a pretty long time, the addition of champions immediately switched things up. A new rarity of troop hadn't been added to Clash Royale since legendaries were added in March of 2016 around the game's global release. That's been over 5.5 years, man. And now that there's champions, we already have 3 of them, and there's tons of room for expansion in the future. In the initial trailer for the champions, there are 8 different statues that you can see, potentially meaning that there are already plans to add 5 more champions in the future to Clash Royale. And also continuing off that point, champions add a whole new level of strategy to the game. Some service level strategy and some advanced strategy as well. In terms of service level strategy, new cards and new things being implemented in the Clash Royale means that the meta is always going to kind of shift and tailor towards those cards' needs and like countering those cards and building decks around those cards. So that's some of the service level strategy. But in terms of the advanced strategy, champions definitely add a lot more than meets the eye. Having to manage your elixir has become a little bit more advanced because the champion's abilities as of right now cost an additional 1 or 2 elixir. And so if you want to implement those into your gameplay, you have to account for that as well as the champion's elixir cost. And also, even though champions count as an 8th card in a deck, they also kind of don't at the same time. It's almost like with champions, you're playing with 7.5 cards. And let me explain what that means. Whenever you play a champion in the arena, you aren't able to cycle back to that champion until it actually dies. So as long as your champion is alive and within the arena, your deck is really only 7 cards until that champion dies, meaning that you have a faster card cycle. As Rich Slayton, one of the CRL English casters, stated within CWA's video, if you're utilizing a champion in your deck, you're basically building your deck around 7 cards that you're going to use for the majority of the match, with the champion kind of being an add-on to that. And in the case of fast cycle decks such as 2.6 Hog Cycle, Hog Earthquake Cycle, or Expo Cycle, if your champion stays alive, you can just cycle back to your win conditions even quicker and just keep applying that constant pressure. So there's a lot more advanced strategy than meets the eye. Those are just a couple of examples I wanted to point out. I could definitely talk a lot more in a future video, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to leave it at that. So overall, how do I feel about champions? I like them. I like them a lot. It's something fresh, it's something new, it's something we've never seen in the history of Clash Royale, and it's definitely made the game a lot more interesting. Of course, not everything is perfect with them, as there's still some balancing that needs to be done with them. I'm looking at you, Archer Queen. But overall, their inception to Clash Royale has been pretty great. So my overall rating of this update is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. Higher level players were looking for new content within Clash Royale and things that would switch up how they play the game, and champions add that. And even for those who aren't level 14, there were still new content added within this update with the changes to star points and also more progression and more rewards to the game. And even if you're not level 14, you can still experience champions within the game. And that is through the reworked classic and grand challenges. This was a point that I forgot to touch on earlier, but I'm briefly going to touch on it here. Basically what they did for classic and grand challenges and global tournaments as well is that they made it so that every single card is available for every single player in these tournaments, and they're set at a new tournament standard, with that being level 11. So let's say that you're a level 12 player and you don't have access to champions. You still have access to all 3 of them right here to use in classic and grand challenges, and also global tournaments when those roll around. So even though you don't get champions, you still kind of do at the same time. My biggest complaint with this update though would have to be the addition of level 14. As I stated earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of it because I gotta spend more time and resources upgrading my cards, but also, as I said, I can see potential reasons why they felt it was necessary to add level 14. So if they do more stuff with it in the future, I'm not going to be too upset about it, but admittedly right now, I'm not the biggest fan of it. And really my only other complaints were that they didn't add more star level skins, and also that heroes were kind of released in a somewhat unbalanced manner. But those are 2 things that can be fixed in future updates, especially balances. Those should be fixed by the time this video goes up. But overall, this was a very good Clash Royale update in my opinion, a much needed Clash Royale update, and an update that definitely changed Clash Royale forever. I'll see you guys in the next video.